My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor servicing South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And the purpose of today's video is to really kind of shed some light on what it looks like in detail for staging your home. Now, this gets a lot of attention and a lot of TV shows out there, so I'm just going to try to keep this as simple as possible, and we're going to try to focus on the stuff you can do. It's not necessarily going to break the bank, because here's the thing with staging and any kind of updates or remodels you might be doing, there's a definite diminishing return. So we want to make sure that we are setting you up for success by keeping the cost as low as possible. So these are going to be kind of maximum impact kind of staging tips that I'm going to be giving you today. But before we get into that, as always, do make sure you give this video a like if you haven't done so already. And do make sure you subscribe so you can receive more information like this in the future. Now, without further ado, let's jump into some things you can do to really get your home ready for the market as far as staging goes. First thing that I really want to emphasize before we say anything else is, according to the National Association of Realtors, 83% of buyers agents say that it is way easier to show a property and have a buyer get emotionally invested into a property if it is staged correctly. So this is super important, because despite what anyone likes to think, people make decisions based off of emotions, not based off of logic. So that's why staging is going to be so important as we're jumping into this. So tip number one that I'm going to give you, you really need to make sure you have all your light fixtures up to date. And if you're trying to make a really good impression, get some real modern looking light fixtures out there, and make sure you change the light bulbs too. I've walked into some properties before and they just felt dark just because half the light bulbs were burnt out and no one had taken the time to take care of those. So make sure you change out the light fixtures, and make sure you also have new light bulbs in there that's going to get kind of a nice bright warm light that's going to really light up the property. The next thing I would say, really make sure your property has got great curb appeal, okay? If it is during the summertime, make sure the lawn is mowed, make sure the trees are trimmed. You have a little bit of time, make sure you've got some flowers out front, the weed bed, is that the right word? Flower bed, there we go, is all weeded, and make sure that that really does present in its best light. If it's during the winter time, different set of things. Make sure the driveway is clear, it looks good, it's not just full of ice and full of snow. Okay, that's not what you want. So make sure the curb appeal is really good, and then also make sure there's some good exterior lights out there too. Like the interior that we were just talking about, you'll want to make sure that this really does show really well. Also, because there's a good chance if you're selling your home at all in Alaska, there's a chance it's going to be during the winter time, and how it looks during night is going to factor into the curb appeal. So that's what I would say as far as the landscaping and improving your curb appeal. Okay, I'm only going to say this one time. Well, I take that back. I'm only going to try to say this one time, and that is, for the love of God, declutter. Okay, I know this is super difficult for some people. I'm personally a pack rat myself, so I know how it works. But when you're selling your home, you need buyers to be able to walk in and emotionally put themselves there in the house and be able to visualize them there. If your property or your interior of your home is cluttered with stuff, and a lot of stuff that really is very unique to you, it's going to be very difficult for them to put themselves in that position. So imagine a hotel room and how stripped down it is and how bare essentials it is. And that's about what you're going for, okay? You want it to be as basic as possible. The next thing that I would say, and even though this isn't directly related to the brick and mortar, what you can do for the house, when you're working on staging, make sure if you have any pets that they are either moved outside, if it's during the summertime, or that they're moved into some kind of a kennel. Preferably, I would be putting them into a kennel. If you're expecting a lot of showings during the day, you probably should just put the dog in the kennel in the garage, okay? That's probably going to be your best option, because some buyer agents are going to forget. If you tell them that there's an animal in there, especially if it's a cat, you open the door, you know, there goes Fluffball, and you got to try to catch them. So yeah, definitely make sure if you have pets that you have them put into a place to where there's That can be a chance that they're going to disturb the people that are looking at the property, because that's number one. It's hard to feel, again, emotionally connected to the property if, Fido is about to bite their leg off. So that's number one. And number two, you just don't want to create any distractions from the property, okay? By the time the pet becomes the main focus of previewing the home, that could be a problem. First off, they're not looking at the home. Second off, unless you're trying to get rid of Fido, then that's just not what you're wanting to do. So make sure you make plans for the pets if you have them. The next thing I would say, and this is really tough for some people, and I understand that, but it is depersonalize your house. And we talked about this a little bit with decluttering, but we're going a step further now and saying, okay, if you have got really eclectic art, like a really specific style that you like, time to take all that stuff down. If you've got a ton of family photos on there, you need to take that down. If you have got wallpaper that only you really seem to like, guess what? Time to take it down. This is really tough for some people, and I understand, but the point is that we're trying to sell a house and get you to the next place. So it's gonna have to happen eventually. You might as well do it and give the house its best marketing day in court that you possibly can by doing this as soon as possible. So depersonalize your house. This next one kind of gets overlooked every now and then, but it is making sure that your kitchen is really well staged. And by this, I mean you need to make sure that countertops are clear, okay? No keys, no pens, no notebooks that the kids are leaving there, no mail. Clear countertops, nothing but appliances, and also make sure that the appliances really have some good spit polish and just shine to them, okay? You really need to make sure the kitchen shows really well, because that's something that a lot of buyers really do find important. So you need to make sure that it shows really well, and just like the rest of the house, that it feels open and feels like something that is kind of neutral and people can attach themselves to. You might not have to go so far as to take all the pictures off the fridge or whatever, but I don't know, depends how many pictures you have up there. But yeah, make sure that you really spend some time focusing on the kitchen. Let's take a break real quick here. For those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, you know I have a relocation guide for people that are planning on moving up here to the state, and I also have a seller guide for people who are considering getting their homes on the market right now. So if this is something that would be of value to you, where it's more stuff like this in a lot more detail, do make sure you reach out to me in the description section down below through my website, DM on Instagram, Facebook, whatever's gonna be more convenient for you. And just make sure you go ahead and ask for that so I can go ahead and send it over to you. So make sure you do that, and let's go and finish up today's video. This next one is really important, and it is making sure that you let as much natural light into the house as you possibly can. So right now it's during the winter time. You guys can't really tell. It's kind of chilly where I'm at right this moment. And I've got some windows all around here. I'm not letting them in, obviously, because of lighting. I like having more control over that. But if I was staging this place, windows would be open. By that I mean just the window shades are open. We're letting in as much natural light as we can. Make sure that when you're showing the property, you've got all the drapes open and we've got as much natural light in there, because showing agents may or may not have time to go through and open all of those before the buyer shows up. So make it an easy property to show by making sure those are open. This next one really is kind of restating a fact from before, but that is minimize your furniture. So it's not to say that you need to just throw couches, beds, all that stuff out there, but you need people to be able to navigate easily around the property and to have a good sense of the space. And if you have a lot of unnecessary furniture in there, it's going to make it a little bit more challenging for them to really do that. So minimize your furniture. Next thing I'm going to say, and it should go without saying, but make sure everything is as clean as you can possibly get it. Make sure all the drawers are emptied out, and also just understand a lot of people are going to be going through drawers as they're looking through the property. So if you have anything that you don't want people to be getting into, make sure that's locked away somewhere. And the very last thing that I would say here, make sure you focus on the olfactory senses as well. Some kind of potpourri, some kind of candle, something like that, that just kind of gives a nice scent for the area. A nice scent for the home. These are just kind of some really basic tips of what you can do as you're getting your your property ready for the market by staging it. There's definitely a lot more. If you do have questions, reach out to me again, comment section down below, or you can also reach out to me through the website, Facebook, Instagram, all those good places. So I look forward to talking to you later, and we'll see you next time.